Hello one, hello all. It's Billy here with Alpha Clock presenting yet another Throwback Thursday. You won't soon forget. I know Charlie was doing this before, but it's my job now. I'm sorry if you can only hear in one speaker. I am having technical difficulties. Today we are playing Sonic 2 on the Sega Master System. Yeah, I said Sega Master System. So in the past couple episodes, Charlie has talked very quickly, resulting in 1 minute or so videos. Now personally, I think this is a bit too short to be able to truly bond with you guys and gals. Please let me know if this is true in the comments. If so, then this video is for you. I'm shooting for about 3 minutes of content, 2 at the least. This seems like a fair amount of time to bite your Thursdays. Anyways, before that, we had me being obese in public schools. So let's jump right into the week. But really, I went to a public school my whole life, which reminds me of a quick story which my friend has told me. So this guy was sitting in class, and his girl was poking him. He told the teacher and asked her to stop, but she didn't. Finally, he said, "Poke me one more time, I'ma punch you." So she poked him, and he turned around and broke her jaw. True story, bruh. Ambulance had to come and everything. This proves they don't teach you much in the academic department, but boy, did I learn the word fuck and the word gay quickly. First grade, actually. My parents always called me fucking gay, but until then, I never knew the meaning. No, but really, I love my mom and thank her for my upbringing. Plus, without her genes, I would be bald like my dad by now. I would have a beard, though. But hey, people on my baby face snuggle between their legs. Speaking of food, because you are what you eat, which would explain I'm a pussy. Ooh, a cliffhanger. Well, that's all of our time though. Remember to do all the subscribing, commenting, and liking if you will. If not, just watch the video again. And if you still know, okay, thanks for watching. Toodaloo. Hello one, hello all. You are watching the Alpha Clock presentation of Throwback Thursday. If it's your first time here, then hello. I'm your host Jim, and you should watch the previous Throwback Thursday to see if I'm lying. And then for those returning or the ones that just kept watching, my name is actually Billy. Today, as in on your screen, we are playing FZero on Super Nintendo, one of the best Super Nintendo games. Hope you enjoy the watch and my smooth comedic styling. So I said last week, we are what we eat, which is why I'm a huge pussy and that my parents always called me fucking gay. Anyways, food. Yeah, everyone loves it. Blacks with the watermelon, the Chinese with the cats, and the Irish with the whiskey. It's not a food group, but what else is gonna wash down all the potato? All the other stereotypical foods can be found online. Check out Japan. They have a love for tentacles inside them. Or is that just hentai? Either one can be found. They're both equally entertaining with a stick of meat in your hand. All this talk about the internet is hilarious. Too bad I still dial up. So please tell me what's it like. Oh wait. No. I know it would be everything I dreamed it'd be. A place I can share my ideas and get support from everyone. No haters. A place I could find the one who really does love me based on just a few words in a pixelated profile picture. The internet where nobody can get hurt. Speaking of love and the internet. You can either make it with yourself or go on Craigslist to find a stranger to do it for you. I hear the best ones are named Craig. Anyways, you always hear about these Craigslist killers, but every time I go on, I can't find one. I mean, what am I supposed to do, look up man seeking murder? I just don't get it. Maybe I'll just make a profile picture on Match.com. Make my hobby stabbing, cutting, smashing, shooting, and other verbs. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. Hopefully, cause I gotta get rid of my wife and the shelter won't take her. Get it? Be hostility. Wow. Look at all the stereotypes the internet filled my head with. As I said in the past, I hope this is funny and I'm joking in every way. That's all for me. Toodaloo. Hello one, hello all. It's Billy here with the all new Throwback Thursday. From now on, I'm going to list facts about the game that I am playing. Today I am listing facts about the Mega Man X and the Mega Man series. Number 1. Mega Man X. Mega Man X was released on the Super Nintendo on December 17th, 1993. If you wanted to get this game new, it would cost you $60, just like today's games. I'm surprised that today's games are still $60 because there was so much more to do in them than an older game. The Super Nintendo was released in 1990, so this game got released in the middle of the Super Nintendo's time period. Number 2. Number of Mega Man games. There are so many Mega Man games from the NES era all the way up to the 360 and PlayStation 3 era. The first Mega Man game, Mega Man 1 of course, it was released on the NES on December 17th, 1987, 2 years after the NES came out. It was also released the same day as Mega Man X, December 17th, but not the same year of course. When this game got released, everyone loved it and wanted more. Mega Man 1 through 6 was released on the NES. Mega Man 7 was released on Super Nintendo, 8 was released on PlayStation and Sega Saturn, 9 and 10 was released on WiiWare, PlayStation Network, and Xbox Live. There's also a Mega Man X series of games. Mega Man X and X2 was released on Super Nintendo, X3 was released on Super Nintendo, PlayStation and Sega Saturn, and so on. There were even more Mega Man series games like Mega Man Legends, the Mega Man Battle Network series, which was only released on handheld systems. The Mega Man Zero series was also released on handheld systems, the Mega Man ZX series, and the Mega Man Star Fox series. There were so many Mega Man games, so sorry about the long rant. Off to the next fact. Number 3. Price of Mega Man games. The prices of Mega Man games are outrageous. The price of the Mega Man games range from $20 all the way up to $200. People spend crazy money on these games. The ones on NES are the most expensive because people say they are the best, but there is a lot of mixed opinions going around. I think that Mega Man 2 is the best because it's not that hard compared to the other Mega Man games, and it's an easy game to get. Number 4. Names and level names. In Japan, Mega Man was called Rockman because Capcom of USA wanted to change the name to be more fit in America. They were even considering the name Rainbow Man because he changed his color in some of the games. In Mega Man, there are level names. For example, in Mega Man 2 there was Bubble Man, Air Man, Quick Man, Heat Man, Wood Man, Metal Man, Flash Man, and Crash Man. I think that is really cool because people today make their own characters and it gives a chance for everyone to show their creativity and what they can do. Well, that's all from me. Toodaloo. Hello one, hello all, it's Billy here with another Throwback Thursday. Today I am telling you everything about Donkey Kong. Charlie did a video on Donkey Kong before and he was playing Donkey Kong the arcade version. I think he did a good job, but there was so much more to Donkey Kong and I wanted to tell you more about him. I am playing Donkey Kong on Super Nintendo because it's one of the best Super Nintendo games and Donkey Kong games. There are so many more fun Donkey Kong games and some of them are worth getting. Number 1. Donkey Kong gameplay. Almost all the Donkey Kong games are side-scrolling games. The ones that are not are the handheld ones and the less popular ones. All the popular main ones are side-scrolling, defeat the mobs and get past the obstacles and beat all the levels. Most games were like that back in those days because that's what people like. It's crazy how many levels they put in these games because it takes forever to beat the game. The side-scrolling idea went all the way back to Mario 1. Mario 1 was the first side-scrolling game and that was the best-selling game on the NES. Even today, games are still in this style. Number 2. Donkey Kong appearances. Donkey Kong has been the main character in about 50 games and he was probably in more than 70 games. He's in so many games. His first appearance was in the arcade, Donkey Kong. The arcade machine was a huge success and sold thousands. Everyone loved it. If you don't know what it looks like for some reason, it looks like this. You should already know what it looks like because Charlie has done a video on it before and it's one of the most popular games ever. Well, Donkey Kong really took off when it was on the Super Nintendo. The Donkey Kong Country series was the best ever. The music, the gameplay, the graphics, everything. Speaking of graphics, Nintendo actually wanted the Donkey Kong Country series to be 3D, but the Super Nintendo wasn't strong enough. The games actually had awesome looking backgrounds. They were so close to 3D. There were a lot of Donkey Kong Country games, 1, 2, and 3 on the Super Nintendo. Donkey Kong 64 was actually a part of the series. Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. Donkey Kong Country Returns was actually not going to come out because Rare was bought by Microsoft and they were going to cancel the game, but a company named Retro Studios came along and finished the game. That would be a shame if they didn't finish the game. That game is awesome. There were a lot of Donkey Kong games on handhelds too. There's a lot of them, so I'm just going to list them. The first handheld Donkey Kong game was the Game & Watch game. The ones on the Game Boy were Donkey Kong Original, Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3. Mario vs. Donkey Kong and DK King of Swing were on the Game Boy Advance. There were more handheld Donkey Kong games on the DS and so on. Number 3. Donkey Kong game prices. Most of the Donkey Kong games are cheap. The Donkey Kong Country games range from $20 to about $30. They are definitely worth the $20. I think, and a lot of other people think, that the first one is the best, so I recommend it. It is only about $20 on eBay. Even the one on the Wii is about $15. There's a special Donkey Kong Country card. It is the competition card. They used them back in the 90s. There were only about 2,500 of them made, and they are crazy expensive and rare. Any gamer wished they could own one. The other Donkey Kong games range from $20 to $30. Donkey Kong 64 and the ones that are on the DS are about $20. Number 4. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. In the latest game, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, they added and changed a lot of things. Notice how I said Donkey Kong Country. They are still making these games even today. Anyways, the plot of the game actually revolves around a group of animal Vikings, which is weird. In the game, Donkey Kong and all of his friends spot a group of animal Vikings. The next weird thing is there are more playable characters. That is crazy because every other game you can only play as Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong. The new characters are Dixie Kong and Cranky Kong. Each character has a special ability in the game. Diddy Kong has a barrel jetpack he could use to cross long gaps, and Dixie can spin her ponytail in order to slowly ascend through the air. In this game, there are 6 islands, and on each island there are about 6 to 7 levels. Like I said before, it's crazy how big they make these games and how long it takes to beat it. On this site, it takes about 12 hours to beat the main story, which is crazy. Well, that's all for me. Toodaloo. Look forward to next week's Throwback Thursday, and I will be doing the Mario series. Hello one, hello all. It's Billy here with a special Throwback Thursday. Today I am talking about all the Mario games. I am making this episode so I won't have to make any more Mario episodes because I guess they get boring after a while. I decided to do this because last week I did the Donkey Kong series and they relate because it's Nintendo. They also relate because Mario's first appearance was in the arcade version of Donkey Kong. Names of Mario games. There are so many Mario games, from the educational Mario games, platform games, the Mario Paint games, Mario Artist, Mario Kart series, Paper Mario series, Mario Party, and more. He is even in random Nintendo games along with the other characters. Some of the games are Super Smash Bros., the SSX Tour game on GameCube, Super Mario Strikers, and way more games. He was in about over 100 games. Almost every exclusive from Nintendo has Mario in it. He is the most famous video game character ever. You can ask anyone and they will know him. He has made it on over 16 consoles, the main 5 Nintendo consoles of course: NES, SNES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, Wii, and Wii U. One of the rare consoles he's been on was the N64 DD. There was a series called Mario Artist and there was only 4 of them, and it was supposed to be 8 of them released. It doesn't really have to relate to Mario, so I don't know why they called it that. The DD was only released in Japan, and it was the add-on of the N64. There were only 9 games released for the system. 9 games. The console was discontinued in less than a year. Anyways, back to Mario. Well, Mario really took off when Nintendo brought their console to the US, the NES. They are the saviors to the video game crash of '83. Anyways, the NES had Mario 1. Eventually they were going to release Mario 2, but they only released a real Mario 2 in Japan because they thought it would be too hard for us Americans. The Mario 2 game released in the US was actually called Doka Toka Panic in Japan. I wonder why they did that. They eventually released Mario 3 on the NES. Mario Party. Mario Party was one of the most popular series for Nintendo. Mario Party was released late '99 on the Nintendo 64. Every Mario Party game is the same, so I'm not going to explain every one. Well, in Mario Party, you're on a board game, and you have to collect the most coins before the amount of turns end. There are also multiple boards you can pick from in the game. In each game, you can have 4 players. You have to play mini games to get the most coins and all that stuff. Anyways, there are 10 plus Mario Party games, and some of them are not that good. Mario Party 1 through 3 was released on the N64, Mario Party 4 through 7 was released on the GameCube, 8 and 9 was released on the Wii, and 10 was released on the Wii U. There are only 2 handheld Mario Party games, and I'm surprised there aren't more. There was Mario Party Advance and Mario Party Island Tour. The best rated Mario Party game was Mario Party 4 because it had the best mini-games, maps, and how memorable it was. The ones that are not so good are 8 and 9 on the Wii. I have the 8th one on the Wii, and it just gets so boring so fast. It doesn't catch my attention. I suggest staying to the GameCube ones. Anyways, off to Mario Kart. Mario Kart. Mario Kart is another popular series made by Nintendo. If you don't know what it is, it's a racing game with all the Mario characters like Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Princess Peach, and way more. It's just a typical racing game, and it has some crazy power-ups and maps. It started on the Super Nintendo with Super Mario Kart. All the maps are flat and the graphics are weird, but what do you expect from a Super Nintendo game? There are about 10 special moves like green shells and all that stuff. There are 8 drivable characters and 20 maps to race on, which is really good for Super Nintendo. I won't explain all of them because that would get boring, but I will list them. So as I said before, the first one is Super Mario Kart and SNES. Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance, Double Dash on GameCube, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 7 on 3DS, and Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, which is the newest one. My favorite Mario Kart game is Double Dash, just because it is one of my childhood games. I played it over my cousin's house all the time, and we had a blast. Well, that's all for me. Toodaloo. Look forward to next week's episode. Hello one, hello all, it's Billy here with another different Throwback Thursday. We probably know that I collect video games because the past episodes I talked about a lot of video games and stuff. Today I'm going to tell a story about how I started collecting games and consoles and some of my memories of getting stuff. I think this is a really good idea because if you're going to watch my episodes, you should know more about me so you can enjoy the episodes more. The game that I picked today is more rare game on NES, Little Sampson. I think this game is a good fit for the episode because NES and this game is one of the first things I learned about when I started collecting. Anyways, let's get to it. Well, when I was a kid, I had video games when I was a kid. I got a Wii for Christmas, I got a GameCube for Christmas, fat PS2 and then a slim PS2 when my fat one broke. But I was never really a real collector until 2 years ago, and my one friend said, you should just like collect more games, and I was like, okay, like this seems so cool. And then like I remember going to my cousin's house and he had an NES, and I was like, you want to trade? And then like he's like, yeah, try to bring like a Genesis over or something. So like 6 months later I came with the Genesis and he forgot all about it, and he's like, oh, like I have like 3 of those now. But then he's like, oh, just bring it anyways and see what we can work out. So I brought over the Genesis and we did trade. I traded the Genesis and Eternal Champions for an NES with Mario 2 and 3 and Tetris, and I was like so excited to bring that home and play it. I was a little bit into like fixing consoles and cleaning them, so like a couple weeks like I think like the day after I got it, I cleaned it because it didn't really work that well because NESs are like that. But then when I cleaned the pin connector, it worked perfect and I was so happy. So that was like my first console when I was like actually collecting. I remember last year in May I got a PS1 and a PS2 for $7 each at the thrift store, and those were like, I had a PS2 Slim but it broke, and then so I sold it, and then I got another PS2 and then a PS1, and I was like, wow, this is like awesome. And then I just gained games from there. I now have like 15 PS1 games or something like that, like really good ones too, like Tekken 3 and like all the games and stuff. And on my PS2, I still had my games when I was a kid, so I have like San Andreas and Need for Speed Most Wanted and Dance Dance Revolution are the games I still have since I was a kid. For my Wii, I still have most of them, like Mario Party 8. I had that when I was a kid and all that. And I had that Wii was the one I got for Christmas. And I remember I got the box from my friend, and because I traded this Game Boy Color case for his Wii box, and I was like, okay, they're both pretty much boxes, so whatever. He had a Game Boy Color and I didn't, and I had a Wii, and he didn't before, but now he has one. Yeah, so I have a Wii box now, and another console I remember getting is for Christmas. I think 2013 of Christmas, I got a PS4, and I was like, yes. That was like one of my first consoles. I was so excited. It was awesome. Then I got a GameCube from the exchange like 2 years ago. That was another main console I got. It was like $30, which is like the main price, but my brother bought it, and yeah, so I bought that and just started getting a ton of consoles now. I now have like NES, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Wii, and Wii U, N64, like all the PlayStations now. Yeah, I got a PS3 from my friend for $20. Seriously, $20. It was awesome. And then I have Sega Genesis and all that stuff. The main place I get my stuff is from Craigslist, flea markets, and thrift stores. From thrift stores, I find a lot of stuff. I'm usually lucky some days. Like one time I found like this SSX game on GameCube, which is really good. Mario Party 4, which is like a $25 game. Harvest Moon, which is like a $20 game. And I usually go down there and don't find anything at all. It's usually not that good, but some days I do. At the flea markets, I get an okay amount. I got like a couple PS2 games, like a Guitar Hero 5 box and like that. And I always go with my other friend Ian, and you know, we always go like every week. And I'm about to get my license, so we can just go up there like way early in the morning and just find everything. I hope so. And then Craigslist is the boss thing ever. I find everything on there. I got an original Xbox in the box with like 6 other games and for $50, and I was like, wow, that was my best deal I ever had. I think I was just so excited. And so what I usually do to get money is I try to buy stuff cheap and sell it just because to make money. I have no job and I don't want to get a job because it would take up my whole time. Like, I actually make other videos. I play hockey on Saturday, and Sunday I do most of my game playing. So I have a whole schedule for after school. I go to school until 3:45, so that pretty much takes my whole day. And yeah, I don't want to get a job because it would take up my whole time. Like, I would not like that at all. I wouldn't have time to do anything else. But Craigslist is like a really good, really dangerous place, but it can be good sometimes and bad sometimes. Like, you can email someone for something, and they're like, okay, let's meet, and then you go there and they're not there, which happened a lot to me. Like, I was gonna get an Atari 2600, I think, and a Dreamcast for $40 with games and all that stuff on the Atari. No games for the Dreamcast, but I went down there and he wasn't there, and I was like, wow, that sucks. And I've been looking, my future consoles are a Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, something else. I'm trying to get more games, everything else too, but Craigslist can be bad sometimes. When I get my license, which is going to be soon, I'm going to go to more yard sales because you can find stuff really cheap, and you buy it, it's done. You go there, you see it, it's done. It's not like you have to, like, it's a week long to message them and be like, okay, when can we meet? Do you still want this item if you email them late and stuff like that? So yeah, I can't wait for that because that is the real way of getting stuff, cheap stuff. The reason why I collect is, I don't really know, I just do it because I think it's really cool. Like, I don't know, when I first started collecting, I just looked at everything, like all the consoles, I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I want all these consoles, and I do have most of the main ones now, and here I am, like, wow, I have all of them. It's just crazy because you can get some really cheap ones. Like, I got my N64 for $15 at this antique store, and you know, it's just easy to get cheap consoles like that and stuff. Sometimes I really have trouble getting stuff that I'm trying to look for, and it's just a big mess. For the future, what I want to do is just get older. Like, when I'm 17 right now. When I'm go to college and move in my own apartment and have a whole collection in there and just have a job and all that stuff. Well, guys, I just wanted to tell you a little bit. This is kind of too long now. It's like 10 minutes almost, I think. And I hope you guys enjoy the future episodes because you actually know me now, which is helpful, I hope. Hello, one. Hello, it's Bill here with another Throwback Thursday. Last week we talked about how I started collecting video games, and that was a really good episode. This week I am telling you stuff about the classic game series Punch-Out! This is a short episode since I have a lot of stuff going on this week. Punch-Out! On NES was one of the best games on the system. There were 2 types of Punch-Out! On the NES. The normal one, with the normal guy on the cover, and it was the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! They are the exact same game. The only difference is at the end of the Mike Tyson one, you fight Mike Tyson. Number 1. Punch-Out! Games. The first version of Punch-Out! Was in the arcade. It was just called Punch-Out! A lot of people loved the game and they wanted more, so they brought it over to the NES. Almost every arcade back then was transported to console because it was one of the best things to play it at home anytime you wanted to, even though they couldn't make it as good as the arcade version. As I said in the intro, there are 2 versions of the game, the normal one and the Mike Tyson one. That was probably one of the best games on the system. The Mike Tyson one is a little harder to find because they made less of them. The next one they made was Super Punch-Out! It was also an arcade game and it was released on the Super Nintendo. It was almost the same game but better gameplay and graphics and just better in general. The next Punch-Out! Game was released on the Wii. They used the Wii motion controls and it was a really fun game. Number 2. Gameplay. Almost every Punch-Out! Has the same gameplay. Punch out the opponent and try to knock him out. The character that you fight is Little Mac, and he has made it to the new Smash Bros. Game, which is pretty cool. Nintendo is trying to make the Punch-Out! Series more popular, plus other series like Fire Emblem and Kid Icarus. I think that is a really great idea of doing that. In the NES game of Punch-Out, Little Mac can do a couple moves, uppercut, and he can block the opponent's punch. Most of the opponents have a pattern. You need to punch them at a certain time. When I play the game, I just punch and don't care. Anyways, it's a really fun game and I suggest playing it on the NES or on an emulator. Number 3. Facts. In the arcade version, characters that resemble Mario and Donkey Kong can be seen among the audience if the camera pans over to the left side of the ring. One that looks like Donkey Kong Jr. is also present farther in the background, sitting beside another Mario lookalike. I find that really cool since almost every Nintendo game other than Mario, they always put the original characters like Mario and Donkey Kong in most games. It was Nintendo of America President Mario Alcada who decided to pursue a deal with Mike Tyson to use his name and likeliness for the US release of Punch-Out! He believed that Tyson's name would help sell the game to customers still worried of the video game market after its crash only a few years earlier. Genyu Takada has said that Mario's appearance as the game's referee was never meant to be. He placed the character in the place of a referee without approval from higher up in the company, and when it came time for final testing, no one said anything about removing him and he was left in. That's pretty funny since most people think they did it on purpose. Anyways, that's from me, Toodaloo. I won't be doing the next 2 episodes since I'll be going on a 2-week trip. Somebody else will be doing them. If you like that video, click here to watch more.
If you want to subscribe, which we know you do, you gotta click this guy right here.
As always, like and
comment below the video, because we finally got it. High five! Yeah!